Hey Geospatial. This video will show you how to do the inverse distance weighting uh, creation of the layer for the temperature estimates, or I don't really want to call it a heat map because that's actually a different type of calculation, but this produces a interpolation of points. This is an interpolation of the point values that you collected uh, with the thermometer, with the infrared thermometer. And then you plotted them in the map, and then after you guys left, there were about 7 or 8 more stations to go, and I just did those myself in my lunch break. So now we have a finished map. So this map will look a little more interesting because someone dropped the thermometer, and so our values look a little bit oddly cold on one side of the building. So let's go on down to step 8. And I'm highlighting all of this, but this is what you have to respond to today. So to do this inverse distance weighted interpolation, we're going to use the simple tools that are built into ArcGIS Online. It doesn't even tell you you're doing an inverse distance weighted calculation. It's just a little bit of a black box, and you don't have to know much of anything. But that's why we're going to go back and look at this more carefully after we do it when I return on, I guess, Monday or Tuesday. And I want to make sure you guys understand what it's doing. Otherwise, it's just magic. Okay. And there's ways to tweak this to get what you want to, you have to make decisions often when you're using this tool to get the best result. And you can't make those decisions if you don't understand what it's doing. All right. So when you're all finished with your work, I want you to look at your map for just any strange features. You will notice something that's like, how did it come up with that? It'll look like it's producing some level of specific detail that is like, how did it possibly come up with that? I want you to see if you can identify anything like that and discuss it in here, and then maybe think of ways that we could improve our data collection so that those won't happen. The good news is the way you collect data can solve most of these problems. And I'll let you guys think about that. Talk about it amongst yourselves, okay? Because you'll come up with some ideas. And then in this place right here, in this box, you're going to do a screen capture of your finished map. Make sure you name the map with your initials in it, and then capture the part where you're logged in. Change the color of your map. Don't just use the default. And I'll show you how I do that when I make mine. But try to make your map look unique rather than just the blah default. Okay, so you're going to go into our map. Let me go back to it. You got to go into the map we worked with, and it's called South Lakes High School top floor temperature map IDW. Okay, what you need to do here is make a copy. Don't leave it like this, because then everybody's going to be working in the same map. Okay, don't work in this map. Repeat after me. Don't work in this map. Make a copy. Okay, so you come up here and you just you got to be logged in to do it, but when you log in, just go save and save as, and then make a copy with your name in it or your initials at the end. That's the picture you're going to capture for the assignment to submit. So when you're signed in, you'll see that there's a save icon right here. Okay, so let's do a save as, have your own working copy to do all your work in, and do your screen capture in that map. So I've already done that. I made a copy of that map, and it's just put Pruis at the end. Okay, and notice I see I had the save here, so I already have my copy. I'm logged in. That'll give me access to the tools. So you go to top floor temperatures and you click on the perform analysis and go down to analyze patterns, and we're going to skip over these hotspots and outliers and so forth, and we're going to go to interpolate points. Click on that. We're in the top, we're working in the layer that's called top floor temperatures, so that's correct. Choose the field to interpolate. We want to interpolate temperature, and that's because that's the only field that I put into this editable feature service. And then it's optimized for speed or optimized for accuracy. And as you can imagine, if you do it for speed, your accuracy suffers, and if you do it for accuracy, your speed is going to suffer, and we don't want that. If this was your final project and you were doing it for your presentation, we would then let it run and we wouldn't care how long it took. We would get the best possible result. But for this activity, we don't want to risk not finishing. So click on options below the number 3 there. Click on options, and this is important. I made this red boundary called the South Lakes top floor boundary. That we want to clip our results to that. Let me explain why we do that. We're going to choose this SLHS top floor outline. That's the red boundary. If we don't do that, the software is going to try to predict values out into the lawn out here or into the parking lot. And there's no data out there, so it does a lot of weird stretching, and it's making a lot of assumptions that are invalid. So by limiting it to just the area within the building, we force it to just focus where we have actual data. Okay, and then so the next one, we're going to go ahead and leave it at geometric interval. I'm not going to go into what these different ways of classifying the data are, but this is the best way to do it for our needs anyway. And change the number of classes down to just 6. And we're going to leave it on choosing a point layer because we already have that's what we're working with, a point layer. And then give it a name. And remember, we have to give it a name with your initials in it so that it doesn't have the same title as everybody else. So just call it top floor IDW. And I'm just going to call mine P2 because I've done this twice already. All right, so but your initials should be there. Top floor IDW, your initials. All right, and then just make sure the map is showing like this, where you can see the entire map on the screen, because the software, I believe, will only do the processing on the part of the screen that's visible. Okay, so ready, run it. And this could take a while, so I'll pause if it's going to take me, just in case it takes a while. Okay, it ran, and that took about 2 minutes. Okay, but this is that default color scheme. Looks like Mars, but we can change that. So you're going to come over here to your top floor IDW, hit change symbol, and you can actually figure out which one you should use by looking at these descriptions. It says this one is used to show different categories of features. So this would be like different types of land use or zoning, when that's not what we want. And this one says use colors to represent numerical or ranked data. Choose a theme that matches your data or color scheme. For example, show data like age or income with high to low. Okay, high to low makes sense because this is temperature data, so this must be the one we're going to use. And it defaults to this one, which looks like super cold up here and not so cold over here, so that's not a good color scheme. So we'll just go down to options then for the counts and amounts color, and I'm going to change that to one of these reds. And let's see if I can find a good one. Maybe try this one right here and then flip it. It's not too bad. All right, and or maybe I'll even go with a different one because it's pretty pale down there in the bottom. Click this, come back over here. Maybe I choose this one. Yeah, a little better, not almost the same, but slightly better. And then we can play with our transparency a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit more or less. Okay, so we can see the different zones. Notice it's the lightest colors down here in the lower right and the darkest colors at the top. Somewhere in here the thermometer got broken. I wonder who did that. So now divided by nothing, we're not going to normalize this data or anything. It's all looking good. So we just hit OK and then done. Okay, so here's where you would take your screen capture. You can capture your name up in the right where you're logged in, and hopefully you have your name or at least your initials in your title of your map. take the screenshot and put it in this box right here. Okay, now a hint about looking what to look for. You notice that there's some like weird squiggles in the data and little loop-de-loop things here, and we didn't even collect any data in there, and that's something that puzzles me. But I know one way we know that that's not true because we didn't collect any data in there, and I just led you to the water. I want you to think about how we could fix that so that we didn't have to live with that unusual mess right there. Okay, and that's it. Um, that's going to help you get through the IDW part, and you can finish up the one with the real estate. And if you have nothing else that you need to, or if you have something else you didn't finish from a previous class, I heard Miriam complaining about something. Um, she said my lessons are too long, so you got time to get them all done now. All right, see you guys.